Hey guys, so in today's video I'm going to teach you 3 of my favorite transitions, or 3 of the transitions I often use in my edits. And if you're a beginner in After Effects, don't worry, these are quite easy to do. Just follow along and you're going to do great. Have fun and let's go. The first transition we are going to do today is this wipe line effect with turbulent displays. And for this transition you are going to need the Sapphire plugin. Download link is in the description. For this transition, make sure that your first clip lasts throughout the whole composition or your transition, and enable motion blur on both of your clips. Now go to the effects and presets and look for S wipe line and add it onto your second clip. You can change the angle to whatever you like. I'm gonna go with 0, so the line goes from right to the left. And now set a keyframe from Y% at the beginning of your second layer and press U so it shows the keyframe, and drag that keyframe to the end of your clip. Now at the beginning of your clip, set a keyframe with 100, and now you can see it already goes from the right to the left. Highlight your keyframes and press F9 to ease them, and go to the graph editor. For this one, we're going to use the value graph. So if your graph does look like this, go to that little box and go to Added Value Graph. And now follow my graph. And we are done with the main part of the transition. Now we're going to add that wiggly effect. For that, just look for turbulent displays and add it onto your second clip. Add a keyframe of amount and size at the beginning of your clip and press U twice so it opens up all keyframes. Now change the amount to 70 and the size to about 50. Now go to the end of your clip and change the amount to 0 and the size to 300. And we are already done with this transition. Our second transition is this corner zoom in transition with null layers. So for the next transition, make sure your clips are ready, add a Twixtor and enable motion blur. Now go to layer, new, and add a null object above both of your clips. So now you see this little square in the middle of the clip, and you can literally drag it anywhere you want depending on where you want your zoom in. I'm gonna go with the top right corner and we're going to do a zoom in on this clip. So now cut your null layer into half and enable motion blur on both of them. Now on your first clip there's this swirly thing, and drag it onto your first null layer so it's parented to it. The same you're going to do with the second clip. So drag that swirly thing onto your second null layer and press S on your first null layer so it opens up scale. Press the stopwatch at the beginning of your clip and go to the very end of your clip and change the value of the scale to 650. So now go to the second null layer and press S again and click the stopwatch and drag it to the far right, the keyframe. And at the beginning set a keyframe with 25. What I forgot to do at the beginning was to add motion tile, but we're going to do that very quick. And just follow my settings or do whatever your motion tile settings are. I'm gonna go with output height 500 and output width 700. As you see, there's this black border, but we are going to fix that. Highlight your keyframes and press F9 and go to the graph editor. This is the value graph again, and just follow my graph. So as you can see, there's this border, but just highlight the keyframes from the second null layer and drag them to one frame to the left, sorry. And we're done with this transition. Our last transition is this wipe circle zoom in transition, and you're going to need the Sapphire plugin for this one. So for this transition, make sure your clips are ready, and don't mind me, I'm just adjusting scale in this one, and add motion tile on your second clip. And the settings are basically the same as in the transition we did before. So yeah, output height 700 and output width 500. Now press S to open up the scale keyframes and set a keyframe at the beginning and at the end, and the end value should be 650. Go to the graph editor and follow my graph. We are doing a value graph again. Now go to the second clip, press S to open up the scale keyframe and drag the keyframe to the end of your transition, and at the beginning of your second clip change the value to about 35. Highlight the keyframes and drag them one frame to the left and press F9 to easy ease them and go to the graph editor and follow my graph. We are dragging the keyframes to the left so the transition looks smoother, if you're wondering. And this is what it should look like now. And now go to layer, new, solid, and add a solid with whatever color you prefer and drag it above both of your clips. Now add as wipe circle onto that layer and cut the layer into half. Now enable motion blur on both of those, and yeah, so as you see, the Y% should be 100 at the beginning, so where your scale starts, set a keyframe with the Y% of 100, and then go to the end of your clip and set it to 0. Now go to the second solid layer and change your wipe direction to circle out. And I was just testing out something, don't let this distract you. Just set a keyframe at the beginning with the value 0. And then at the end of your scale transition, the value should be 100. And if you want to smooth out those edges, just change the edge softness to 5 on both of your layers. And now highlight your keyframes, press F9 and follow my graph. We're using a value graph for the solid as well. And we're done. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you had fun and learned something, and let me know if you have any requests in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next video.